our next speaker is ready. It's going to be Vriti Saraf from NFTs to Ed3 from Future of Education powered by NFTs. So the Future of Education powered by NFTs, Vriti Saraf. Thank you. Mic check. Sorry. Wait. Start on over.
Thank you so much. So if you guys want to have a seat, we're going to talk about education. It's going to be a 10-minute talk. You'll probably love it, I'm sure. So if you guys could sit down and start. All right, so I'm Vriti Saraf. I am the founder of Ed3 Educators and K20 Educators. We are actually the first DAO for educators by educators. And the goal of what we're trying to do is catalyze innovation at scale for education. We think that education is really stagnant, and we really want to make sure that it is evolved. So the question here is, how is education related to NFTs? So that's what I'm going to prove it out in 2 ways, in 2 reasons, and then we can have a talk after that if you want. So this is a really important image to see. The right side here is a factory, and the left side is a modern classroom. So if you are familiar with your own schooling, I imagine you probably had something like this. The truth is that education systems and education infrastructure has actually been modeled against factories for a really long time because they're trying to actually create people that are ready for the workforce. And during the industrial era, the workforce wanted factory workers, so that's what was created. And so there's this long legacy of education actually being impacted by the workforce. Today, we have graduate schools, vocational schools, degrees for workforce, internship programs that are all about trying to get the right job, trying to get the right internship. And so again, the workforce is constantly shaping education. In 2015-ish, when web actually had become really proliferated and there were a lot of demand for coders, there were all of these programs in schools that had to adapt for their students. And so today, over 50% of high schools are offering coding. So what that means is that the workforce was being injected by what we called Web 2 and by coders, and so schools caught up. So again, further proving that workforce is really impacting education. Today, VCs have invested over $33 billion in Web3 startups. People have invested over $247 billion in cryptocurrency, and $17 billion worth of NFTs have been traded in the last few years. So let's talk about what that means for the actual workforce. So there's actually 4 trends that I've actually identified that are going to be the next impetus for how the workforce operates. So we've got the gig economy, creator economy, unbundled learning, and remote work and learning. So the gig economy are your gig workers, so they're your consultants, your contractors, anyone who's not working a 9-to-5 job. And there are over 200 billion gig workers in the world, and by next year, they're going to double because of Web3, and I'll tell you why. And then the creator economy, there are over 50 million creators around the world, and that's going to actually double to triple over the next few years, and that's also because of Web3. Now, if we think about NFTs, NFTs actually provide you intellectual property protection because you can assign value to an NFT and you can actually create a contract that tells where that NFT is going to go and who's going to own it and what kind of royalties are going to be received. So if you think about the creator economy and the gig economy, that's actually a really huge asset for those particular workers. Then we think about digital products. If we have gig workers and creators that are actually going all over the world, traveling, working when they want, working how they want, they're actually able to exchange digital products, and that can actually be their main business force. And so that's a huge thing with NFTs. And then the last one is the tokens as crypto and as immediate payment. So this is huge. As we know, crypto is a global currency, and it's not super affected by what's happening in one nation state. And so gig workers and creators can live anywhere they want and can have any kind of job they want because they're able to be paid in crypto. So because of Web3, creators and gig workers are going to actually increase. So the reason number 1 why it matters so much that NFTs be taught to students is because our students need to be prepared to use NFTs in the workforce because the workforce is being impacted by NFTs. The second reason is because of unbundled learning and remote work. So unbundled learning are basically choosing when to learn and how to learn. So you've seen it in Web 2 with Khan Academy, Udemy, Meetup, Google. You can basically take whatever courses you want and learn from whoever you want. In Web 2, that was really easy to do because you got to connect through the internet, you got to connect through social media apps and things like that, and that was huge. With Web 3, because of decentralization and self-organization, this is actually going to proliferate even more. I just realized there's a screen right here. I don't even have to look back. And then with NFTs, the reason why that's going to be further exacerbated is because of student portfolios that you can actually use to collect NFT credentials. So imagine if I am a student in 6th grade and I take a robotics class and I get a credential, I turn it into an NFT, I put it into my digital wallet. Then when I'm in 9th grade, I get another robotics credential, and then when I'm in college, I get another one. So now I have this entire resume of all of these credentials that I've received. I never have to call my bursar office, I never have to call my college, and I can actually have my whole portfolio in front of me to share with whomever I want, whenever I want. And that is huge for learning. Teacher IP protection, I don't know if anyone's a teacher here, but a lot of teachers create a lot of content, a lot of lesson plans, and it's really hard to actually protect your IP. There are a lot of products out there where teachers share content with each other, but it's constantly actually being stolen. And so NFTs are a great way to fractionalize your IP and be able to trade it with each other. Certifications and credentials, again, what I said before about creating an on-chain resume, badging as well, and then application processes. Imagine if every time you applied to a new university or job or whatever, you could give them your portfolios, but you could also actually maybe even retrieve an NFT for having applied to that thing, and that would actually make you part of the ecosystem of that job, even if you weren't employed with them, which would create more culture around that. So there's a lot of potential here for unbundled learning. And then the last one is remote work and learning. So we know that the metaverse, quote the metaverse, if we all agree that the metaverse doesn't exist yet, but this is an AR/VR platform that has really impacted how we learn, how we work, and learning has actually been enhanced by these metaverse environments quite a bit. And if we think about NFTs in the metaverse, we can think about NFTs and blockchains to engage students. So imagine if students are using learn-to-earn models where they can walk through the metaverse and actually earn NFTs as they're leveling up in their literacy or leveling up in their math. And they're actually able to take those NFTs again, put them in their student portfolio, and then tell people about it and show it off on social media and show it off in their on-chain resumes, which is, again, huge. So the reason number 2 why it's so important that NFTs be integrated into education is because our educators can actually rethink how education operates. Education as a system, as I said before, is massively broken. We are still operating under a factory model, and if we actually rethink education through the lens of Web 3 and decentralization, regenerative learning, through self-organization, through self-sovereign identities, those things are actually going to be able to improve how education operates. So one thing that we're doing here, so Ed3 DoW is the first DAO for educators. We're building a credentialing program for educators. This actually certifies educators in different types of Web3. So metaverse, DeFi, blockchain, tokenomics, NFTs. There are lots of micro-credentials that we're building. We're actually funded by Coinbase Giving. And it's the first NFT, this is actually our NFT collection. The next one is a credential. So this NFT collection is actually giving you that credential for free. So that credential that I was talking about. The NFT collection is, again, the first NFT collection made by educators for educators, and it's empowering a community of educators, the first community of educators for Web3. And our collection is actually quite beautiful. It's a 3D collection. It represents how educators are constantly trying to make sense of a chaotic world for students, and so that's what we represent in our NFT. And then the Ed3 certification program I just talked about. So I would say for education, if you all are interested in education, if you're interested in changing education, it's really important that we think about education as an evolving industry, even though it hasn't been for the last 100 years. We have to unisolate education from the other industries. We have to make sure that Web3 and the tools and the ethos of Web3 is integrated in how education operates. And we'd love for you to actually join us. We're ed3DoW.com. You can scan this QR code for our NFT, and you can actually join our Discord community. And joining our Discord community is totally free, and you can connect with other educators to learn more about Web3 and idea with us. So thank you so much.